So I am a big fan of the MCU. I have thoroughly enjoyed just about every MCU movie that has come out to date, and there have been quite a few. In fact, if you look around me, there's MCU all over the place. But the DC universe has never quite worked for me in that same way. I saw most of those movies, but I watched them once and that was enough for me. But with them discontinuing that prior DC universe and launching a new one, there was some hope that they could be growing into something worth watching. And then Superman, the most recent one with David Coronswet, I thought was really good. So I wanted to do this review of Supergirl to see, does this movie live up to that hype? Is it a good next step in a potential DC universe that could be worth following along? So I'm going to go see this movie and then I'll be right back for that review.
Danny J-Man in the spotlight gleam, talking magic worlds and Marvel dreams.
And I'm back. Okay, I'm going to do this review in two parts. First, I'm going to discuss how Supergirl fits as the next step in this new DC universe. I want to talk about where I think the DC universe is going, and do I think it is working so far. Then I'm going to review this as a movie. And for me personally, there are 5 areas that I look to in a movie to determine whether it's something I'm going to want to see. And that is family friendliness, suspension of disbelief, quality characters, an engaging story, and a satisfying ending. So I'm going to talk about those 5 areas and see how this movie does in those areas. I'll rate about a 5 in each category. But first, talking about this movie as the next entry in this new DC universe. Overall, I'm still encouraged. It was a very interesting story, and it grew the DC universe that they are living in. So in Superman, we got to see Superman living on Earth and interacting with heroes and villains there. But this one takes us off-world. It very much had a Guardians of the Galaxy type of feel to it. The main character, Supergirl, she is traveling out to other planets. She makes alliances, sort of, and she makes enemies, sort of. And she is just on this quest for this one goal that she very much needs to accomplish in a certain amount of time. But in the course of this, she is moving planet to planet and interacting with various alien creatures. And it is an enjoyable journey that we see her going on. I think this is a great next iteration into the DC universe. By the end of this movie, I was caring for Kara Zor-El. I wanted to see where she was going to go with things, and I feel like this is another good movie. Whereas the original DC universe had that dark, gritty tone, this one is more light. This has more humor to it. Still less humor than Guardians of the Galaxy, but it still had some humor to it. And it allowed you to watch this character, to grow with this character, and to be part of an engaging story. So overall, I am excited for the course of the DC universe. And I'm glad I saw this movie. My one complaint in regards to them moving forward with the DC universe, this movie did not have an end credit scene. So if you go to see this in theaters, once the credits started rolling, you can leave. It's something that I really love in movies when they have an end credit scene to get you excited for what's coming next. And this didn't have that. But the movie itself, I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a good movie. So as a continuation of this DC universe, I give the movie 5 yellow suns out of 5. Okay, so now talking about this as a movie. Area 1 for me is family friendliness. Now that may not be as important to all of you, and if it's not, feel free to skip on to the next section. But for me, this is something that is something I always look for. I tend to just gravitate towards movies that are more for an overall family audience. This movie is not that. There's a lot of alcohol, there's a lot of violence, a lot of innocent people getting how do I say this in ways that won't demonetize me? A lot of innocent people get hurt or worse. There's a lot of violence in this movie, and it's very sad how this goes. There's a lot of situations that they find themselves in that are not in a family tone. The bad guys, the main bad guys in this are looking for females. Because they're male bad guys and they need females. There's a lot of themes in this that don't cater to a family audience. So if that is something that matters to you, it's something to keep in mind. So for family, I'm going to give this 2 Lobos out of 5. All right, category 2 is suspension of disbelief. What it means is within the universe that they create, can I believe that that would happen given the rules that they laid out? And for the most part, it followed this. I felt like when you move off planet, a lot more things become believable. So her getting into these fights and smashing through things, and when she was powered up, she could fight things off in ways that I would consider believable for someone with those powers. Then there were a couple of situations where I was like, okay, I'm not so sure about that. One thing that was great about the movie was you get to explore Supergirl and how her powers are impacted by where in the galaxy she is. We know on Earth, with the yellow sun, she's powered up. On Krypton, they didn't have a yellow sun, they had a red sun. This is just backstory stuff. This isn't spoilers, this is backstory. They had a red sun, and so she did not have powers. That comes into play here. We see her with different types of suns and the impact it has on her. So the one area that the suspension of disbelief was stretched a little bit was times when she's on red planets, she still attacks people with very little fear. She seems to be able to hold her own against some really big opponents when she doesn't have power. She says, with the red sun, I'm completely normal. And then she goes and picks a fight with some giant alien creature and holds her own. And I feel like that's not as believable. She also takes a lot of hits when she's normal. And I don't think people would really survive that many hits. But that's something that is common in these type of action movies. People take giant hits and they somehow are fine. It is something I was able to get past. But for that, they get marked off a little bit. So overall, I'll give it 4 Kryptons out of 5 for suspension of disbelief. Overall, they did a great job sticking to their own rules. All right, area 3 is quality characters. And this one is tough because I liked most of the characters in this movie. So if it was just, do I like them, then it gets a high score. But quality characters, like how are the characters used within the movie? That's complicated. I really liked Supergirl, and I liked her companion in the movie that you'll get to see if you see it. And I liked Lobo. Jason Momoa returns as Lobo in this movie. And I liked him. But I also felt like if you removed him from the movie, it doesn't really change anything. And that's kind of a difficult thing to grasp as far as a character in this movie. I did like some of the ways that they used him, and if you really look at this in like a metaphorical way, his role is a good one to be in there. I don't want to get into the specifics there because I'm trying to make this a non-spoiler review. But overall, I didn't completely understand where his character fit into the overarching story. Sometimes he just kind of showed up, and then he just kind of disappeared, and just kind of came in and out of the story. I liked the character. I'm just not sure I understood the character. And the bad guy was... All right, we learned that outer space has a lot of very bad people in it. Or very bad aliens in it, I guess. And this main bad guy is just another really big bad guy. I feel like he wasn't one that was like incredibly smart or had some power that was hard to overcome. He was just a really bad guy. And so I feel like it wasn't a villain that 10 years down the road I'm going to be like, oh man, that was a good one. But he was more there because they needed a villain to go after. The real story here is the journey that Kara goes on. So we didn't need the villain to be the best villain ever. That said, I'm going to give characters 3 Karas out of 5. Okay, category 4 is engaging story. And this one I do feel was really good. I liked the motivations that they gave to the characters. I liked the journey that they went on and the growth that they went on. Every step of the story built on what happened before, and it made sense. So I feel like that is really where the strength of this movie lies, is the story. It was an enjoyable story. You got to watch this journey and really feel like you're going on this journey with Supergirl, trying to figure herself out while she's trying to figure out how to achieve her goals. I feel like this story was fantastic. So I'm going to give it 5 planets out of 5 for an engaging story. And category 5 is a satisfying ending. And I'm not going to tell you what the ending was, again, because this is a non-spoiler review, but I liked the ending as well. There was a time when I thought it was going to go a different direction, but then they went in a better route than where I thought they were going to go, and I am happy with how they ended it. You do get this sense of wondering where they're going to go next and looking forward to the continuation, and you feel like the characters are in a position that you're happy with. So to me, I was satisfied with the ending that they gave us. There wasn't anything glaring there that I feel like they missed, and there wasn't anything that I was like yelling at the screen for them to have done differently. So I'm going to give it 5 Supergirls out of 5 for a satisfying ending. So that comes to the overall rating for this movie as a movie. Now, I tend to like movies more often than not, so that is something to keep in mind. So if you want to be able to compare this to other movies, I would say it's better than Guardians of the Galaxy 2, worse than 1 and 3. I'd say it's better than the prior DC universe, maybe a hair less than the Superman movie with David Coronswet, but on that same level. So if you like Superman and you like Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel like this will be a good movie for you. All right, so now on to my rating. Given everything there and the fact that I really did enjoy this movie, I would give it a 4, a 4 DC Universe movies out of 5. So I feel like this was a great movie, and I gave it some low scores for some of the areas, the use of characters, the family friendliness. There are some areas of suspension of disbelief, but overall, this was a movie that you should go, sit back, and just enjoy the movie. If you think too much about some of the things in there, it could get frustrating. And there are some things about the movie that were a little frustrating as well. But the journey was so much fun that I do recommend going and enjoying that journey. Now, one quick disclaimer I will say. I know of some people that do not like having to deal with subtitles. And I'd say it felt like half this movie was not in English. They are traveling planet to planet, and it is a decision that they made that most of these planets do not speak English. Now, at one point, they refer to English as the common tongue, and yet a lot of the aliens do not speak it. And so we do have a lot of situations where Kara is going around and having to talk to aliens in a completely different type of gibberish from what we've heard previously. Sometimes there's subtitles, sometimes there's not. And so if that is something that could frustrate you, it's something to keep in mind. But overall, I give this movie 4 out of 5. And I'm very glad to have seen it. And I'm probably going to go back and see it at least one more time, probably one more time in theaters. Anyway, that is my thoughts on Supergirl. Being an MCU fan, looking at the DC universe, I'm excited to see where they go next. I hope that the next one can live up to the criteria set by Superman and Supergirl. And I hope you enjoy this movie if you go to see it in theaters. Thank you for watching.
Click subscribe, dive deep into the lore. J-Man have the answers you adore.